What's up, everybody? It is Broken Havoc here, right here on the Broken Havoc podcast, here to review Impact Wrestling Rebellion, which took place at Skyway Studios last night in Nashville, Tennessee. Of course, Impact's home turf. Man, what can I say about Impact Wrestling? These people, this promotion has had a lot of ups and I mean a lot of downs. And you know what? It is great to see Impact Wrestling literally just have a renaissance. Yes, I've said it. Impact Wrestling is going through a renaissance right now. The amount of crap that these people had to deal with ever since, Anthem has bought the promotion. They went to multiple TV networks, your Destination Americas, your Pop TVs, your Pursuit channels, and now they're on Access TV, which is still not the biggest channel in the world, but it's something there. It's better than Pursuit channel, I'll say that. But my God, man, Impact delivered 100% in this show. And a lot of people, watched Impact Wrestling, including myself, ever since Omega won the belt at Winter is Coming, which was that special episode of Dynamite that happened December 3rd, I believe, in 2020. Omega won the title. Don Callis, of course, with the microphone, helped Kenny Omega out, win the belt. And all of a sudden, he said, hey, tune in on Tuesday night on Access TV on Impact Wrestling. And then, of course, a lot of people were watching Impact Wrestling only for Kenny Omega. But you got to understand, Impact has one of the best rosters that the company's ever had. Even 10 years ago, when they were called TNA had the best roster. Even I would go as far as to say in 2010, and look, 2010 was the year that TNA went downhill. They had the best roster any promotion could have. It was an all-star, a mixture of your veterans and your young guys. And they still didn't do anything with the young guys. They focused more on the veterans. Right here, now they're focusing on the future. And of course, we can't talk about Rebellion without discussing the main event between Rich Swann, who is the Impact Unified Champion, and Kenny Omega, who's the AEW World Champion. Fantastic match. I swear to you, one of the best matches I've seen in the year. This match, balls to the wall. These guys killed each other in this match. Both Swann and Omega just tore the house down. And the story that was told was just awesome. I really enjoyed this match for what it was. Having Mauro Ranallo on commentary is the best thing, especially for a match like this. Everybody knew from the get-go that Omega was winning this match. There was no way that... Look, Rich Swann is awesome. I'm not discounting Rich Swann. Rich Swann is an amazing athlete, and he's an awesome wrestler. And, dude, this guy's going to be a world champion again someday. I guarantee you that. But everybody knew that Kenny Omega was going to be winning the AEW... No, not the AEW. The Impact World title. And the thing about it is they're going the same route as, they're trying to replicate that Ultimo Dragon pick where he has all those titles on his arms and stuff. They're going the same thing here with Kenny Omega. Of course, they're going the whole belt collector route where Kenny Omega is going around multiple different promotions and win their world title. Right now, he's the current AEW World Champion. For a while, he's been the AAA Mega Champion down in Mexico. And also, right now, he is the Impact World Champion. And to top it all off, I'll put the TNA World title on there. One thing that's really weird about this is that it's going to be so weird seeing the old TNA World title on Dynamite. If it is the case, because apparently Dynamite was taped, so I don't know how they're going to be dealing with that. But my God, man, this show was awesome from top to bottom. The first match that went on for the evening was the X Division title match. The X Division, where it's not about weight limits, it's about no limits. Nice TNA reference right there. We got Josh Alexander versus Ace Austin, who is the X Division champion, versus TJP, or if you want to call him TJ Perkins. Awesome opener to start the match. I mean, the X Division, my God, man. Again, I do believe the X Division will be going through a renaissance. The X Division is just flat out awesome. I mean, the early days of the X Division, Jerry Lynn is like the pioneer of the X Division. My God, man. you had guys like Styles, Daniels, Joe, Petey Williams, Chris Sabin, Alex Shelley, of course, the Motor City Machine Guns. Those guys were the past. Josh Alexander, Ace Austin, and TJP are the present. I would say the future, but these guys are the now. Quick notes. This match was really fast-paced that it was so hard for me to take notes, but that's how good this match was. A couple notes here. We got a kick by Austin, a drop kick by Austin on TJP. TJP really just showing off. He's an awesome wrestler, fantastic wrestler, I should say. This guy's awesome. Ace Austin does a moonsault over the top rope on Alexander and TJP. Goes for the pinfall attempt. We get a 2 count. Austin pulls out the card. He was basically trying to give TJP a paper cut, as you guys know. TJP tries to go for a detonation kick, but Austin counters. Alexander German suplexes Ace Austin. A catch suplex by Alexander on Austin. A 2 count by Josh Alexander. Ace Austin is taking control of the match. We get a monkey flip by Ace Austin. Alexander catches TJP to do a powerbomb, but Austin kicks TJP in the back. Austin is taking control of the match again. All competitors are on the top turnbuckle. We get a double superplex by Josh Alexander on both Ace Austin and TJP. We get an enziguri by Austin on Alexander. A slide drop kick by Alexander on Austin. A mama splash by TJP on Ace Austin, which looked awesome. An ankle lock by Alexander. TJP counters and Alexander counters back into a knee bar. Alexander applies the knee bar on Ace Austin. Everyone is applying submissions all together. We get a double boot by TJP. Alexander rolls through. Divine intervention by TJP on Josh Alexander. We get a 2 count. Ankle lock counter by Josh Alexander. A mama splash by TJP. Foley interferes by pulling TJP, who is the member, the guy that's the bodyguard of Ace Austin. And ankle lock by Alexander. We get a divine intervention by Josh Alexander on Ace Austin and wins the match. Josh Alexander is your new Impact Wrestling X Division champion. What are my thoughts on this match? This was an awesome opener to start the show. Impact Wrestling, back in the day, TNA always started hot with those X Division title matches back in the day in the 2000s. They always started hot in their pay-per-views. I'm glad to see the X Division title open the show. This match was just balls to the wall. It was awesome. I really enjoyed it. Josh Alexander looked great. I feel like the highlight, though, was TJP. TJP really showed why he is one of the best wrestlers in the X Division. He's awesome. Nothing against Ace Austin. Ace Austin is great, but, of course, he lost the match. Overall, awesome match. Next up, we get Violent by Design, Eric Young, Diener, Joe Doring, and Rhino. Yes, Rhino is part of Violent by Design now, which is Eric Young's faction, versus Chris Sabin, James Storm, Eddie Edwards, and Willie Mack. What are my thoughts on this? Overall, this is not a bad match. Oh, I forgot to mention, though, we get a debut by none other than Big Cass. Well, he's not going to be named, he's not Big Cass anymore. He's W. Morrissey. But in my notes, I put Big Cass because I still refer to him as Big Cass, of course. Him in a tag team with Enzo Amore. But yeah, he's taking over Eric Young in this match. And he looked great. I'm not going to lie. Big Cass, or W. Morrissey, whatever you want to call him, he looked awesome in this match. I really enjoyed him in this match. He looked like a devastating force, of course. That's the story they're trying to be told. That's the story they're trying to tell. But overall, awesome. Couple notes in the match. Eddie Edwards and Joe Doring start. Rhino tags in. Then Chris Sabin tags in and applies a wrist lock on Rhino. Multiple wrist locks and waist locks back and forth by multiple members in the beginning of the match. Edwards gets tagged in and continues the wrist lock on Rhino. Diener tags in. Willie Mack later tags in. Double team by Mack and Edwards. James Storm tags in and works on Diener. We got a couple right hands by Diener. A hip toss counter by James Storm. Cass tags in. Right hands by Storm. Cass no-sells those right hands. We got a slap by Cass on Storm. A big boot on Storm, sending him outside of the ring by Cass. Diener tags in. Joe Doring tags in. We got a couple right hands by Storm. Doring flies across Storm. Rhino tags in. Takes control over Rhino. Rhino works on the neck on James Storm. He sends Storm in the corner. Running neckbreaker by Storm on Rhino. Willie Mack tags in and works on Diener. Rolling slam and leg drop by Mack on Diener. Chris Sabin tags in, jumps over the top rope and gets caught by Cass. Eddie Edwards jumps over the top rope. Power bomb by Edwards. Chaos in the ring because everybody's just pulling a random move. Willie's about to fly over the top rope, but Cass catches him. Diener basically goes to the top and Sabin comes in, superplexes Diener on the floor and through everyone in the match. Joe Doring tries to go for a clothesline. Mack hits a stunner on Doring. Cass and Mack eye each other. Tries to go for a stunner, but Cass hits a big boot. East River Crossing by Cass on Mack and pins him for the win. Overall thoughts on this match? Of course, the highlight of this match was Big Cass, or W. Morrissey, whatever you want to call him. It's going to be really hard to call him W. Morrissey. It's kind of a weird name, but hey, it is what it is. Cass, I'm really glad to see him back in a promotion. I do believe he was working a couple indie dates. I mean, before the pandemic hit. I don't know what he was doing during the pandemic, but I'm glad to see him wrestle again. It's really awesome. And yeah, I mean, this match was pretty cool. I'm just hoping they do great with Big Cass. I hope they put him in a high position on Impact Wrestling. Let's see where it goes on television this Thursday. All right. Next up, we get Matt Cardona, a.k.a., for those of you who don't know, Zack Ryder in WWE, but in Impact, he's Matt Cardona, versus the most, and I mean the most, professional wrestler, Brian Myers, a.k.a. Kurt Hawkins in WWE, if you guys didn't know. Match starts. We get a handshake offer by Cardona. Instead, Brian Myers flips him off. Cardona fights it out with Myers. Myers takes control outside the ring. Myers tries to drop him, but Cardona counters into a neckbreaker. Myers stacks Cardona on the barricade. We got a couple right hands by Brian Myers. Repeated elbows by Myers on Cardona. We got a 2 count. Applies a submission hold on Cardona. Myers sends Cardona to the top turnbuckle. Right hands by Brian Myers. Cardona targets the eyes. Hits a dropkick. Clotheslines by Matt Cardona. Then we get a clothesline in the corner by Cardona. Radio silence by Cardona on the ramp. Cardona takes Myers back in the ring. We get a devastating, and I mean devastating, spear by Myers outside the ring. Like, literally, the way Cardona hit the floor after that spear was just crazy. You could literally hear it. As soon as he fell, boom. That was a nasty spear. Myers goes to the top. We get an elbow drop by Myers on Cardona, but when he goes for the pinfall attempt, he gets a 2 count by Cardona. Roll through pin by Myers, 2 count. Kill switch by Cardona, but gets a 2 count. Insecurity by Brian Myers. Then after that, after he tries to jump over Brian Myers, Cardona unfortunately injures his knee. Then all of a sudden, Myers gets more heat by hitting a clothesline on Cardona. We get a roster cut by Myers and 3 count. Myers wins this match. Overall thoughts? Not the best match in the world, but it was a pretty good match. That leg injury by Matt Cardona looked really devastating. I hope he gets it together. I mean, that looked really nasty. It looked like he snapped his leg. We don't know. We don't know what happened, but hopefully we get a couple more information in the future. And yeah, that was a pretty good match. Now, next matchup, we got, well, it's not really the next match. We get Tony Khan backstage. We get a backstage interview with the owner of AEW, of course, Tony Khan. He talks about the match that's going to be happening tonight with Kenny Omega and Rich Swann. He says that Aubrey is the best referee that Impact will ever have. And Scott D'Amore comes in and basically says that Impact is fine with only one referee. Tony questions the Impact referee because, if you guys don't know, it's Brian Hebner and his father is Earl Hebner. And you guys know what happened in Montreal, the Montreal Screwjob, yada, yada, yada. The Montreal Screwjob has been beaten to death already. Like, just get over it. It's been beaten to death. But, yeah, I mean, he questions the last name of Brian Hebner. And then Scott later agrees that, this match will have 2 referees to make sure that there's an even playing field. So it is what it is. Next match, we got Fire and Flava Kiera Hogan versus Tasha Steelz. Wait, no, not versus. Kiera Hogan and Tasha Steelz versus Jordynne Grace and Rachel Ellering for the Impact Wrestling Knockouts Tag Team titles. Jazz, we find out that Jazz is managing Ellering and Grace after, of course, Deonna Purrazzo retired Jazz. Now Jazz is in a managerial role. Notes on the match: Ellering and Steelz lock up. Covered by Ellering, but gets a 2 count. Kiera Hogan tags in. Both Ellering and Kiera tag in. Headlock by Kiera Hogan. Grace tags in. Plants Hogan into the ring. Steelz tries to save Hogan. Covered by Hogan on Grace. 2 count. Steelz tags in. Double team by Fire and Flava. Double suplex on Jordynne Grace. 2 count. Steelz is taking control over Jordynne Grace. Running European uppercut by Steelz on Grace. Running knee in the corner by Hogan. Covering 2 count, second pin, and then we get a 2 count. Steelz tags in. We get a knee to Grace's face. Then both Steelz and Hogan are double teaming with repeated stomps on Jordynne Grace. Hogan accidentally dropkicks Steelz, and Grace begins to take control of the match. She tags Ellering, takes control of her opponents. Jumping forearm in the corner by Hogan on Rachel Ellering. Jumping spinning leg drop by Ellering. Double team by Grace and Ellering on Kiera Hogan. We get a 2 count. Double drop kicks in each corner by Fire and Flava on Jordynne Grace and Rachel Ellering. Double suplex in the corner by Jordynne Grace. And then Tasha Steelz goes to the top rope and hits the apron. Kiera Hogan, crossbody. Kiera Hogan does a crossbody. We got a couple forearm shots. Ellering tags in. Waistlock by Ellering, but Hogan counters with a super kick. We get a couple right hands. Powerbomb by Rachel Ellering on Kiera Hogan for the win. And Rachel Ellering and Jordynne Grace are your new Impact Wrestling Knockouts Tag Team Champions. Overall thoughts on the match: I love the back and forth on this match. Kiera Hogan and Tasha Steelz looked great. Jordynne Grace and Rachel Ellering also looked great. I'm a really big fan of Jordynne Grace. She's really good in the ring. I remember seeing her at All In a couple of those years ago in the Battle Royal. The Over the Budget Battle Royal was really awesome to see her. This was not a bad match at all. I'm saying this right now. The Impact Knockouts tag titles are superior than the WWE Women's Tag titles. They put more emphasis on the tag titles, on the women's tag titles here in Impact Wrestling than they do in WWE. That's just my opinion. All right. Now, next match, we got the Death Machine, the Draw, Sami Callihan, versus Trey Miguel in a last man standing match. Overall thoughts on the match. My God, the amount of bumps that Trey Miguel has taken in this match. I mean, there was a lot of crazy spots in the Omega and Swann match. I'll get to that later. I mean, those were really stiff V-triggers that Swann took. But the amount of spots and bumps that Trey Miguel took in this match are insane. Notes on the match. We get a dropkick by Miguel. We get a second dropkick by Miguel. Callihan throws Miguel outside of the ring in devastating fashion. He just dropped outside of the ring. Just like, looked like he fell off a building. We got a power slam by Callihan on Miguel outside of the ring, which is insane. Callihan pushes Miguel on the post, but no. Miguel pushes Callihan on the post, but he stops it. Miguel takes control of the match. We got a Hurricane Rana outside of the ring on Callihan. Miguel gets back in the ring. We get a suicide dive by Trey Miguel, but misses. And when he missed, I swear to you, Miguel hits the guardrail. As soon as he did that suicide dive, he hit the guardrail when Callihan ducked. That, looked really devastating. I swear to you, that was a crazy spot. Callihan throws Miguel over the guardrail. Sami is going to grab the production box. Tries to roll the box on Miguel, but Miguel ducks. Miguel gets powerbombed on top of the box. Callihan opens the box and grabs a chain, wraps the chain on his head. Callihan tries to put the wrench on Miguel's mouth, what is this, CZW? What the hell? Granted, it was not bloody at all. Miguel gets up at 8. Callihan throws chairs into the ring, throws a chair on Miguel, which looked bad. Callihan grabs the table. Miguel gets in the ring. Callahan takes Miguel on the chairs, and Callahan tries to hit Miguel with the wrench but misses. Miguel drops Callahan on the chairs. Miguel puts the chair in between the ropes. Trey Miguel sets up the table. He tries to suplex Sami Callahan. Then later on, both are trying to suplex each other. We got a right hand by Trey Miguel. Then, I shit you not, Sami Callahan body slams Trey Miguel in between the legs of the table. Like, on the legs of the table. Which, that was what got it for me. That was a nasty spot. That was a crazy spot. Sami throws a chair on Trey. Sami takes Miguel on the top rope and throws a chair on his head. Sami sets up the table. Sami pile drives Miguel on the top turnbuckle on the table, which did not break, by the way. The table did not break in that spot at all. Sami is on top of his feet. Miguel gets up by leaving the ring, and the referee he gets up by leaving the ring for the referee to stop the count. Sami's about to powerbomb Miguel on the table. Miguel fights back. Sami pile drives Miguel on the table and puts Miguel underneath the steel steps. Basically, Sami thought that he could, be sleazy and actually win the match, but that didn't happen. Miguel actually went under the ring, and he hits a diamond cutter on Sami through that table, which was a pretty awesome diamond cutter, I'm not going to lie. Miguel gets up at 9, and Sami didn't get up at 10, and of course, Miguel is the last man standing. Overall thoughts, of course, awesome last man standing match. I shit you not. This match was awesome. Trey Miguel is an awesome athlete. He's an awesome wrestler. I do see him winning the X Division title in the future. But if you want to go as far as maybe putting him up at a higher level, maybe pushing him maybe in the future, go for it. Trey Miguel is an awesome wrestler. And I got mad respect for Trey Miguel because this guy did some crazy bumps. Nothing against Sami Callahan. Sami Callahan is one of the best things about Impact Wrestling. Why do you think he's called the Draw and the Death Machine? He proved it in this match. This match was awesome. I really enjoyed it. All right. Now we got a backstage interview with the Impact Unified Champion. Rich Swann talks about, what his thoughts are going through before his match against Kenny Omega. Says that it's the biggest match in wrestling history, that Don Callis played games on him. Says that there's no more mind games that will stop him from being the best. Says that it's the biggest match of his career and also Omega's career. Says he won world championships and Omega won world championships. But says that they are in Impact's house. Says that Impact is Swann's house. And says that he's going to rebel against the arrogance and Too Sweets and bring the fight to Kenny Omega all night long. Tremendous promo by Rich Swann, of course. He's awesome. I really enjoyed this promo. And yeah. Next match of the night, Juice, David Finlay and Juice Robinson from New Japan Pro Wrestling versus the Good Brothers, Doc Gallows, and the Machine Gun, Carl Anderson, for the Impact World Tag Team titles. Overall thoughts on this match, David Finlay and Juice Robinson. Look, I don't watch a lot of New Japan. For me, it's really hard to get into New Japan. New Japan is not a bad product at all. They have a lot of awesome wrestlers. They are really good. I mean, the strong style of wrestling is one of the most hard-hitting styles in the world. But, I'm not the biggest New Japan watcher, but Juice Robinson, David Finlay, oh my God, those guys are awesome. It's an awesome tag team. And, of course, the Good Brothers, I mean, they made their name for themselves in New Japan, part of Bullet Club, the original stable of the Bullet Club with, of course, Prince Devitt. All right, notes on the match. David Finlay and Carl Anderson start. Both lock up. Both push each other. Juice Robinson tags in. We got a double team by Juice. 2 count. We get a back slam by Robinson. Finlay tags in and drops on the arm on Anderson. Jumping elbow by Finlay on Anderson. 2 count. Gallows tags in. Right hands on Finlay by Gallows. Robinson tags in. Works on the arm of Luke Gallows. Finlay tags in. And Juice double teams on Luke Gallows. Gallows is taking control over Finlay. Anderson tags in. Right hands by Carl Anderson. Forearms back and forth. Gallows hits Finlay outside the ring. Gallows tags in. Brings Finlay into the ring. We got a couple right hands by Luke Gallows on David Finlay. We got a side kick by Gallows. 2 count by Finlay. And headlock by Gallows on Finlay. Hammer elbows by Gallows on Finlay. We get a chin lock by Gallows. They finally fight back. Gallows sends Finlay on the top turnbuckle. We got a double boot by Finlay. Jumping elbow off the middle rope on Gallows. Anderson tags in and Robinson tags in. Robinson is beginning to have control of the match. Jumping senton by Carl Anderson. Robinson with the Dusty Rhodes punches, of course, which looked awesome, by the way. Jumping kick by Robinson on Anderson. We got a clothesline in the corner by Carl Anderson. Cannonball by Anderson. We got a pinfall attempt by Robinson. 2 count. Finally hits a running kick on Anderson to get the 2 count. Double team by Finjuice on Anderson. 2 count when Gallows interfered. Finally goes up to the top. He's about to go for the Doomsday device. The Good Brothers fight back. Clothesline in the corner by Gallows. Cover by Carl Anderson. 2 count. Gallows tags in. About to go for the Magic Killer, which is, of course, the Good Brothers' finisher. But Finlay interferes. Robinson applies an inside cradle for the win. And 2 count. Well, no, not 2 count. Finjuice retain the Impact Wrestling Tag Titles with the inside cradle made by Juice Robinson. Overall thoughts on this match? This was an awesome match. They really showed why they are a great tag team. Finjuice, I should see more of their work. I actually haven't seen a single match of Finjuice, and I've seen a couple of stuff on Impact TV, but watching the television, I mean, there's just so much wrestling right now every day, every day of the week. I mean, you got Raw on Mondays, you got NXT on Tuesdays, and you got Dynamite on Wednesdays, and you got Impact on Thursday, and you got SmackDown on Fridays. It's a lot of stuff, but I have watched the Go Home show. Finjuice is awesome. And of course, I've been keeping up with the stuff on their YouTube channel because literally you can just watch a lot of their stuff on their YouTube channel. It's great. But overall, Finjuice looked great. The Good Brothers, my God, one of the best tag teams in the world. I really enjoy their work. I predicted that the Good Brothers were going to win and, get back their Impact tag titles and, all that stuff. But I do think that they're going to be facing the Young Bucks at Double or Nothing. I believe that was the leaked card that that was the leaked match that Dave Meltzer said, because I believe in the Observer he did put out the supposed card for Double or Nothing, which looks great, by the way. I really enjoyed it. I enjoy it. We get a Kenny Omega backstage interview in front of his locker room. Don Callis says that he is not available, says that he has changed the course of history, says that he has done it again with champion versus champion, says that they are living history right now, says that he has written it, says that Rich has to worry about Kenny Omega, says that he knows about family, says that he and Omega were closer than blood, puts down Rich Swann, basically just puts Swann down at like crazy, says that he is truly an orphan without his toy, says that he had a vision of this day, says that he will leave with both world titles and everybody will be a part of history. Yes, we were. The Virtuosa, Deonna Purrazzo versus Tanil Dashwood, a.k.a. Emma, if you guys didn't know when she was in WWE, but she's known as Tanil Dashwood now, in Impact, for the Impact Knockouts title. This was a pretty good match. Not the best match, but Deonna Purrazzo is a fantastic wrestler. I really enjoy her work. She's really good in the ring. Notes on the match. Both lock up. Waist lock by Perazzo. Wrist lock by Dashwood. Crucifix by Perazzo, but gets a 1 count. Neck breaker on the ropes by Dashwood on Perazzo. Clothesline by Perazzo. We get a 1 count. A hold by Dashwood by... No, a sugar hold by Dashwood. No, on Dashwood by Perazzo. Dashwood fights back. Perazzo kicks her. Right hand by Dashwood. Deonna fights back. We get a high knee by Deonna Purrazzo. Clothesline by Dashwood. Deonna gets sent in the corner. Tanil applies a tarantula submission. Crossbody by Dashwood on Perazzo. 2 count. Big boot by Dashwood. Waistlock by both wrestlers. Elbow to the back of the head by Deonna Purrazzo on Dashwood. Multiple German suplexes by Deonna Purrazzo. Tanil fights back. Double underhook in the corner by Perazzo. On Perazzo, by the way. My bad. I'm getting these words confused. Crossbody in the corner by Dashwood. 2 count. We get a curve stomp by Dashwood. Dashwood applies the Moodalock. All of their partners are trying to interfere. So Kimberly and Susan, a.k.a. Sue Young. I refuse to call her Susan. I call her Sue Young. Pump kick by Perazzo. Deanna tries to do a flying headbutt. Rolling exploder by Deanna. Deanna applies the armbar. Tanil escapes. Couple of chops by Perazzo. Deanna hits her finisher to retain the title. What are my thoughts? Pretty substandard match. It was not the best match in the world, but not a bad match. I really enjoyed it. The interference by Susan and Kimberly kind of like took away from the match. They didn't need to be interfered. They didn't need to interfere in the match, but it is what it is. After that, we get Kimberly and Susan attacking Dashwood after Dashwood loses the match. And then we get the returning Taylor Wilde comes in for the save. And yes, she has returned to Impact Wrestling. Overall thoughts? I couldn't care about I don't want to be like cruel and all, but like I just don't care about Taylor Wilde. But it is what it is. Overall, not a bad match. Quick note though, we actually did get a ad for the next big Impact pay-per-view, which is Slammiversary, which is their anniversary show, if you guys didn't know. So they did basically the same thing as they did last year, in which they basically just put a promo package hyping up Slammiversary and putting a lot of old footage of Samoa Joe and all those people. And it's basically a teaser. A lot of people are saying that Samoa Joe is going to be making his return to Impact Wrestling, which I would be all in for. And I mean, a lot of people say he should go to AEW, which rightfully so. I mean, I feel like Samoa Joe will fit that roster really well. He will blend in with that roster extremely well. The reason why I say that is because of his mic skills and, of course, his athleticism. I mean, my God, Samoa Joe is one of the best wrestlers of all time, in my opinion. This guy was one of the best wrestlers in the late 2000s. I mean, his matches with Kurt Angle were legendary. In my opinion, my favorite encounter by Samoa Joe and Kurt Angle was at Lockdown in 2008 in that 6 Sides of Steel match. It really had that MMA influence on it. But yeah, I mean, a lot of people say that Samoa Joe should go to AEW, which, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, my God, Samoa Joe knows how to cut a promo. If you had seen his promos on SmackDown, my God, Samoa Joe, he just goes straight for the neck. He doesn't care. But, I mean, they are teasing not only Samoa Joe, but also Chelsea Green, which she will be a good fit on Impact. Mickie James, of course, she can possibly be making her return. And also the Iconics, which the Iconics would be a great fit for Impact Wrestling. I think they will do really well in Impact Wrestling, and I will really enjoy their work. But yeah, that was the Slammiversary ad. Comment down below, who do you think will be returning at Slammiversary, and do you think that Samoa Joe will be returning to either Impact or AEW? All right, now we got our main event. Kenny Omega, the AEW World Champion, versus Rich Swann, who is the Impact Unified World Champion. We got Mauro Ranallo on commentary. Damn. It is so awesome to see Mauro Ranallo back on commentary. If this is a one-off, fine, but I do believe that he will be signed by AEW. I feel like this was an AEW call instead of an Impact call, even though this was an Impact pay-per-view, but damn, man, Mauro Ranallo delivers 110% on any match. It can be the first match on the card, the best match on the card, or the worst match on the card. He puts that over like $1 million. Mauro Ranallo is the best commentator in the business today. I don't care what anybody says. Excalibur is awesome. Jim Ross, the greatest announcer of all time, but I feel like he kind of lost a step. No disrespect to Jim Ross. He's still awesome. Tony Schiavone is another awesome commentator. I'm glad Tony Schiavone is commentating every week on Dynamite. Tony Schiavone is a legend. But Mauro Ranallo is the modern, I do believe he's the modern day Jim Ross. And what I mean by that is he really blends in on his own, and he really develops a personality for himself. And that's what I really enjoy about Mauro Ranallo. But yeah, he's commentating as a part of the main event with Omega and Swann. Oh man, we're going to take a couple notes on this match. We got a couple notes, and yeah, let's start. Both lock up. Omega applies a wrist lock. Rich Swann basically fights back. Side headlock by Omega. Omega slams Swann after a couple reversals. We got a side headlock by Swann, then a side headlock by Omega, a leapfrog by Omega. Swann hits a dropkick on Omega. Swann hits Omega on the floor. Swann goes for a Phoenix splash outside of the ring from the top rope. Chops Omega on the outside. Both get back in the ring. We get a couple flare chops by Swann. Right hand by Swann. Backside kick by Swann on Omega. Second backside kick on Omega. Rolling frog splash by Swann. It looked like he was going to go for like a rolling thunder or something like that. Shout out to RVD. But Omega has the knees up. Side slam by Omega on Swann. Omega drops Swann on the apron. Both fight it out outside of the ring. Omega drops Swann head first on the apron. We get a buckle bomb. Yes, a buckle bomb. Shades of Seth Rollins by Omega on Rich Swann in the corner. Plants Swann to the mat. We get repeated pinfall attempts, but Swann keeps on kicking out. Omega is taking control over Swann. We got a couple chops by Omega on Swann. Omega hits a pendulum backbreaker on Swann. Oh, yeah, I forgot to mention, Tony Khan, Jerry Lynn are out. Scott D'Amore was out watching this match. Also, the Good Brothers were out there watching this match, and also Eddie Edwards and Willie Mack were watching this match, of course, which is really awesome. Omega hits a pendulum backbreaker on Swann, covered by Omega, 2 count, a backside kick by Omega on Swann. Omega hits his knees on Swann. Then he later proceeds to hit a forearm on Swann, a knife edge chop by Omega on Swann. Swann fights back with elbows and right hands, a Cortoro drop by Omega, but Swann counters with a frog splash, which looked awesome. Covered by Swann and gets a 2 count. We got a couple knife edge chops by Omega. All right. Swann fights back with a couple chops. Omega fights back. Clothesline by Swann. Flying head scissors by Swann. Omega's on the top. Insiguri by Swann. We get a Frankensteiner, not a Hurricane Rana. Thank you, Scott Steiner. We get a Frankensteiner by Swann on Omega. Omega goes to the top. Swann catches Omega. Both fight it out on the top. Omega tries to go for a sunset flip, but Swann escapes, and Omega gets dropped on his head, which is crazy. 2 count. Swann fights back with a couple chops. A big kick by Omega. Then we get a Liger Bomb by Omega on Swann. A V-trigger on Swann. Omega tries to go for the one-winged angel. Swann escapes. A spinning heel kick counter by Omega. We get a V-trigger and a devastating one in the corner by Kenny Omega in the corner. Swann is on the top. Omega is setting up for an avalanche. One-winged angel on the top. Swann escapes and covers Omega. We get a 2 count. Slaps and chops by Swann. Another V-trigger and a Snapdragon suplex by Omega. Second Snapdragon by Omega on Swann. Swann later proceeds to hit a cutter on Omega. Swann accidentally hits the cutter on the Impact referee. We get a lariat by Omega on Swann. Omega brings in the chair. Then Aubrey Edwards is behind and literally just takes away the chair because, she's fair. Aubrey Edwards is an awesome referee, by the way. Swann hits the cutter. Cradle by Swann, but Omega covers. We get a 2 count. V-trigger counter. Swann hits. And then we get the Rechinoku driver on Omega. Cover by Swann. 2 count. Then we get a kick by Swann on Omega. Swann is going to the top. He tries to go for the Phoenix Splash, but misses. And then Omega hits a really stiff, and I mean really stiff, V-trigger. Omega goes for the cover. We get a 2 count. Then we get a Dre Driller by Omega. We get the second cover by Omega, but he gets a 2. Then another V-trigger by Omega. Then the second V-trigger by Omega on Swann with the exposed knee, by the way. This is not his padded knee. His knee is exposed. Swann ducks the third V-trigger. Then Omega proceeds to hit the fourth V-trigger on Swann on the ropes. Swann fights back. Rights and lefts by both wrestlers. Then we get a high knee by Omega. Suplex by Swann. Swann goes to the top. He proceeds to try to go for the Phoenix Splash again, but again misses. Then we get another V-trigger by Kenny Omega. And then, of course, what's next after the V-trigger? The one-winged angel. Omega goes for the pinfall. 1, 2, 3. Omega wins the match. Kenny Omega is the new Impact Wrestling World Champion. Holy crap. This match was awesome. One of the best matches I have seen this year. Literally, these two wrestlers just tore the house down in an empty arena with nobody, with just people watching from the sides. Like, this match was awesome. From the moment this match was announced, everybody knew that Omega was going to be winning the Impact World title. Everybody knew that Omega was going to AEW was going to be doing this belt collector gimmick with Omega, where he goes to multiple different promotions and just collect world titles. He would go to he goes to Impact. He won the AAA Mega title from, I believe, Rey Fenix. He had that tremendous match with Laredo Kid, which I saw, by the way, at Triple Mania last year. And I'm not a AAA watcher, but I did stop by and watch the match between Kenny Omega and Laredo Kid, which is an awesome match. Laredo Kid is awesome, and he retained his belt. But, like, Kenny Omega, by far, right now, the two best wrestlers in the world right now are Roman Reigns and Kenny Omega. I swear to you, if there was a match between the two, I don't know who would win, but, like, I don't know what would be the right booking decision, but, like, man, Omega proved tonight that he is the best wrestler in the world, and Omega really brought, like, he really brought his A game. Same as Rich Swann. Rich Swann brought his A game. He took a lot of those V-triggers, and he took a lot of V-triggers, by the way. Tried to go for the Phoenix Splash multiple times and just missed, which sucked. I would love for him to hit the Phoenix Splash and actually, like, try to get a pinfall attempt on Omega, but that didn't happen. But my God, man, this match was awesome. I really enjoyed it. What's going to happen on Dynamite? Who knows what's going to happen on Dynamite? I honestly do not know. I hope to God, man, we get a match with, with other promotions. I mean, like, Nick Aldis is the current NWA world champion. I don't know what he's doing now, but, like, I mean, he did say that he didn't want to wrestle Omega, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong, but, like, I mean, AEW does have a working relationship with the NWA. I would not be surprised if he ever won the NWA world title. But what about New Japan? I mean, the New Japan partnership is official. I mean, we had Kenta a few months ago coming up on Dynamite, which in that tremendous match, I mean, my God, Kenta really showed in that match why he is Kenta. And he is the guy, the true guy that does the go to sleep finisher well. But, like, this match overall, one of the best matches I've seen all year. Rich Swann brought his A game. One of the best matches of his career. Kenny Omega, of course. He showed you why he is 7-star match Kenny Omega, or why he is the best bout machine. Just watch this match. My God, man, this match was amazing. Kenny Omega is your current AEW World Champion, your AAA Mega Champion, and now the Impact World Champion. Awesome show. The X Division title match was awesome. The two best matches of the night for me were Sami Callihan versus Trey Miguel and this match. Both matches were awesome. Nothing against the X Division title match. I really enjoyed that match, but, like, those two matches, especially this match especially the main event was just balls to the wall. Like, the reason why everybody ordered this pay-per-view was just to watch Omega versus Swann. But, like, a lot of people were mad because of the fact that, like, it was really predictable and that Omega was going to win. Of course, I understand that, but, like, this match was really awesome. It was a really awesome match. I really enjoyed this match. What's going to happen in the future? We don't know. Stay tuned in the channel because I got my Raw review coming up tomorrow night. And then, of course, on Thursday, I got my Dynamite review. On Saturday, I got my SmackDown review. And then we're going to be going weekly by that. And, yeah, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, push that bell for notifications. And, yeah, this was Rebellion, and this is Broken Havoc. Signing out.